Today we shall begin a new segment on Salam India. This is going to be called The World of Islam. This is a mighty rich segment. The hosts here are Mr. Shujar Khan and Mr. Shoaib Yahya. Let's meet these gentlemen and hear their dialogue.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shujar Abbas Khan. I'll be your host to this new show we call The World of Islam. My co-host is
Shoaib Yahya.
And we're starting this segment about the world of Islam, addressing the needs of 1.6 Muslims that live in this world. We want to talk about the cultural aspect of Islam. People living in this culture, in a diverse culture, where there's a lot of misconception and misperception about this segment of the population. Since the last 15 years, there have incidents happen around the world that has brought attention and sometimes negative attention to this segment of the population. So to address some of the perceptions, questions people have, we want to go ahead and talk about the cultural, the social aspect of Islam. This is not a theological show. This is not about the religious aspect of this segment of the population. We want to make sure that we help educate the children of tomorrow so they can have a different perspective about the world of Islam. Shoaib, what do you feel would be a good segment, a good way to introduce people around the world about Islam, about the people of this society?
Absolutely. Just like you had mentioned, our goal is a little different than a typical, Islamic program.
Right.
We're not going to discuss anything about theology. We're not going to discuss anything about the typical religious practices.
Right.
What we want to bring to light are the lives of people, achievements of people, contributions of people, how people have made a positive impact in the cultures and wherever they have been living, be that in the United States, be that in any other country. We just want to bring the aspects of the people and the contributions they have made in their day-to-day lives.
Sure. And again, to that issue, we want to make sure that kids growing up who are very confused sometimes in this society because they feel anytime they have a different name, a different color, a different origin, they feel like they're isolated, they're different, and we want to make sure that we address that issue and remind them, at the end of the day, we're all God's children. We're all the same human beings. It just so happens you might have a different last name, a different color, but at the end of the day, we're all human beings who are just like any of our neighbors. And we want to bring down some of these walls that have been created, people who feel isolated, segregated, to remind them that at the end of the day, we're all the same. And we want to give them a point of reference so they can understand how the rest of the world sees them, how we should feel about ourselves, and remind ourselves here in this society that we are Americans. We might be Pakistani Americans, Indian Americans, African Americans, whatever that separate logo is, at the end of the day, we're all Americans. And we want to make sure that the kids don't feel that they have to choose between one or the other. You can be very proud of your heritage. You can still talk about all the accomplishments of the people, the traditions that you come from, but at the same time, celebrate them and be part of this society, which opens up their doors with open arms. They welcome us from around the world. And to that aspect, what do you feel are some of the challenges for the future generation living and growing up here in U.S.?
I see the biggest challenge to be the typical information that they get to hear, like something is happening, in a different part of the world, like Syria or something, and
Right.
and the ISIS type folks doing all kinds of social and humanistic damage and atrocities, and what people tend to forget is that there are over 1.6 billion people.
Right.
And if there are a group of 10,000 people or so who are rogue and don't even understand their religion, and commit
atrocities.
unspoken atrocities.
Right.
That doesn't reflect, upon the 1.6 billion people like that, because none of them or most of them do not, will not agree to it, will not want to be part of it. And that's where we want to, try to make sure that, if that's an issue coming up, let's compartmentalize it.
Right.
Let's put it where it's supposed to be and not project that image over a big group of people, most of them being, good people. And we want to make sure that that information is passed through our discussions, the people that we can bring to this, this forum, let them have their discussions over here, and just open the perspectives of people.
Right. And to that front, I would like to say that there is a big challenge because you always hear people who are the loudest on any segment. I mean, if we live in the U.S. and we see the conservatives or the liberal movement, we always hear the loudest people on that segment, forgetting that there's a large silent majority that is part of the population that doesn't make the noise, that doesn't get the attention. But those are the common daily folks who are looking for the same exact things about taking care of their family, raising their kids, bringing food to the table, and trying to be productive members of the society. That's usually the goal of most of our brethren. It doesn't matter which religion, which community, which heritage they bring in. We're all looking for the same things. And that silent majority that gets silenced because they don't go ahead, make the noise, they don't bring attention to themselves. Unfortunately, the perception of the society is geared towards the loudest members of any culture. And we want to make sure that we stay away from that segment and that loud segment and concentrate on the everyday people of this specific population. And again, they just happen to be Muslims. It doesn't matter what their background is. They live in this country. They're part of the American mosaic of this culture, and they want to be contributing members. And we want to make sure that we address their needs, their concerns, and also educate the rest of the people about who these people are and what they want, what their priorities are. And again, if you happen to have a name of last name of a Malik or a Khan or a Yahya, any of those things, that doesn't segregate you from the rest of the society. You're still part of the same society. And we want to make sure that we bring attention for the right reasons.
Totally agree with you.
And again, we also want to go ahead, bring in the experiences and of different members throughout these segments. We're going to try to bring different guests who will bring in specific segments. They will talk about the contributions to the world of education, the world of research, world of medicine. They will also talk about the contributions to the justice system of the world. And in that way, we hope to educate the rest of the audience on where these different people have come from, where they're going, and what their goals are. Because at the end of the day, our goals are still the same as every neighbor in the society we live in, to bring a positive change in this world and become productive citizens. And at the same time, what level of contributions they bring in, it depends on experience and depends on individuals. We cannot paint this with a broad brush that just because you happen to have a different name than the local population, that suddenly your goals are different or you don't want to be a productive member of the society. And we'll share experiences of different folks who have lived their lives for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, what they have seen, what they have brought to this society, and also then look at what should we do to get positive change for the kids that will be leading this nation, hopefully, in the years to come.
Yes, and it's good that you have mentioned the children a few times. And one of the things that I'm hoping that all of our audience will get to see is not just the contributions that are being made, but also to get motivated,
right,
and be energized to see what kinds of things they can do in life, what kind of careers they can take upon in their lives,
right,
what kinds of places they can go, with the kind of education, with the kind of background, with the kind of understanding that we hope to bring over here and share with people. hopefully that will, immensely motivate the people who are watching, especially the children that are watching, and hopefully, it will help them make good decisions for their lives and their careers and their professions and all the other things they would like to do in their lives.
And as Martin Luther King had said, that we want to be judged by our character and not by the color of our skin. And same way, in a different age, in this time, we want to make sure that just because our names are different or color of our skin is different doesn't mean we're any different. We want to make sure that at the end of the day, we're contributing citizens of the society and we bring a positive change for our brethren. So again, the goal of this segment is going to be to educate not only the people who happen to be Muslims, but also all the non-Muslims who might have had a different perspective, a different perception, or there's a lot of misinformation that's floating around, to clear that up, to make sure that people look at them as just their neighbors, as we talked about. So we want to bring a positive change. We want to go ahead, contribute to the local society, and be proud Americans at the end of the day, because the next generation will be leading this nation. And we want to make sure we can tell our kids, don't feel that you have to limit yourselves to any segment. You want to go ahead, fly. You want to go to different places that maybe we weren't able to go. We want to go ahead, make sure that the kids feel they are liberated. They feel like a productive member. They can go places where maybe they wouldn't have had the chance had they lived in their culture where their parents came from. So again, immigrants, as we know, are usually the movers who bring a change to the local society, but it doesn't have to be something negative. It has to be looked at as a positive change, positive contributors who will bring this nation, bring them up all together and lift them higher. That's what our goal is, to make sure that all of us feel like we are going to go ahead, take this country to even greater heights, and not just this country, the culture, the people, and we feel as a same society.
Yes. Since we are bringing this subject up, I was thinking maybe we should also share what types of discussions are we going to be bringing about, and perhaps some discussions that our audience would like to have. They can share that information with us. But we can talk about science, we can talk about astronomy, we can talk about medicine, we can talk about various subjects where hopefully we'll get our audiences excited about, and they'll get to learn and understand more of the contributions that we have made in this country and other parts of the world.
Sure. And again, this is really a communities program. This is not just a show for us. We want this to be a program, a show where people feel connected to this program, and should be interactive, where you might have questions, you might have things that you want to research out, might not have had a good background on a specific subject. We welcome your comments. We welcome your contribution to the program, so we can go ahead, bring about more in our future shows. We can bring people in to address those specific concerns, specific questions, and educate ourselves in this process also, and bring the community together. So I feel very positive, very good about this show. I think we're going to bring in a lot of folks who maybe have felt disconnected with the local society or within their own community, because these are confusing times. There's a lot of information floating around, which not necessarily is the truth. And just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it is the truth. And we want to make sure that we bring all of this together, decipher it, and make sure that we educated ourselves in that process. So in conclusion, I would like to say I'm really looking forward to it. I really welcome everybody's contribution to this, and we look forward to a very good season of the shows. Sure.
Same here. We're really looking forward to it. Very excited about this opportunity that we'll get to share a lot of information with our audience. And I guess it's time to do a wrap.
Thank you so much, Shoaib. Looking forward to our future shows, and we'll come back to you. Please don't hesitate to contact us and give us your feedback. Thank you. Shajar Abbas Khan, saying Khuda Hafiz.
Shoaib Yahya. Assalamu alaikum.